plastic surgery, you know, it's elective. And it's something scary. It's like I'm going to be put under for vanity reasons, you know, like just so I can have a flat stomach, you know? And so it took a lot of thinking. And even Dr. Angelina, I had a consultation with her twice. One I did virtual because, you know, with the height of coronavirus, I couldn't come in. And then I went to other doctors and they were quoting me significantly higher. And I went to a couple of them in person. And I was like, well, maybe she didn't see me in person. So maybe her quote is off, you know? So I went to her in person and it stayed the same. The quote stayed the same. And just seeing her in person gave me a different vibe of what I wanted, you know. Nothing against men, but you know, a lot of the male doctors that I saw didn't understand what I wanted. So it was certain things like when she was doing my consultation, she was like, "Oh yeah, I can put a little dip in your back and you know give you that curve." And I'm like, "Yes, that's what I want," you know. And no one else had really presented it to me that like that. It was just kind of like, "Yeah, you have a flat stomach," but more. She basically told me how she was going to contour my body, and so I was just like, this is the one that I want to pick. And then the convenience of the location as well, knowing that if there was ever any, God forbid, any complications, that I'm around the corner and that there's somebody local. Because like I was telling you, I considered going out of country for it, but then I kept thinking, what happens if something happens, you know, and I'm here and then my surgeon's in Mexico, what do I do? So I decided just to do it locally and just from the reviews and stuff. And I stalked her Instagram page and all of that. I did a lot of research before I made my decision. I felt like the price for what was being offered, well, the first time that I had the quote, it was the second consultation that I had. Then I had 3 more consultations afterwards and I was like, why is this one lower? And I just thought it has to be that she hasn't seen me in person, like because she did it online. And I wouldn't say the price threw me off because I felt like it was worth every penny. Um, and the fact that she was lower, I kind of felt like she was a nickel and diming, you know, where I not only had a tummy tuck, I had liposuction on my back. And every other place I went, it was like, this part of your back, this price. This part of your back, this price. And she was just like, your back is your back, you know? And so I felt like I liked this. That factored into my decision because it wasn't just like each individual part of your body is a different price. And even, I don't know how intimate we're going to get with this, but with your tummy tuck area, you know, they kind of do I think they call it like a Mons lift where they, you know, cut down into your, you know, your private part area. And sometimes it can look like you have a bulge if they, you know, if you just get a tummy tuck without sucking out that fat in that area. And I was like asking her about this because in my first consultation, we never really discussed it. And she was like, well, that's automatic. Like, that's something I already include in there. I'm not going to have you walking around with this bulge that a lot of people have. And the other doctors that I went to were charging $1,800 extra just for this part that technically you have to have if you're going to have a tummy tuck because you want it to match. You want it to be flat right here. You don't want it to be flat and have this bulge. And I'm on a support group on Facebook. And a lot of people have that problem because you don't think about it. You go, you have a tummy tuck and you have all this fat suction out of your stomach, but no one suctions the fat at the top of your fupa and your fupa area is just bulging. And so that's why I was just like, oh, okay. So she was like, I would never, it's like a complete process. So, I mean, the little things like that helped me in making my decision on, you know, going to Dr. Angelina. I did my research. When I tell you I did my research, I joined every support group online on Facebook ever. And I was asking so many questions of people who've had it done. What do I need to look out for? What's important? My best friend had a tummy tuck and she was like, if you're going to get a tummy tuck, get lipo of your back too. And I'm like, why? She's like, because when I gained weight, all my weight went to my back. And I was like, really? She's like, yeah. She was like, you know, because when they remove those fat cells, the fat has to deposit somewhere. And I was like, well, one, I don't plan on gaining weight. Okay. That's the first thing. And secondly, I was like, well, I guess it does make sense to be, you know, circumference, like your whole area to be, you want the whole thing to be flat because if you have a flat stomach, and then you have all the back bulges. It's like you want a flat stomach to wear crop tops and all that stuff, but if you still have the back bulges, you don't think about that. Like, I guess it kind of is a package together. So when Dr. Angelina see me and I told her I wanted my back done, she told me that I probably needed a back lift where they, lift your skin up too, because I had a lot of loose skin on my back. And she told me that just getting lipo alone, I can't have my back flat like I want it to be. And she kind of warned me of that when I told her I wanted lipo, but I still opted for the lipo anyway, knowing that. But a lot of people wouldn't tell you that. They wouldn't. They would just be like, because she was just like, I'm just letting you know that your results may not be how you want them to be. But even though my back is still a huge improvement for what it was before, I just kind of feel like I've always had a big stomach. Like, I was an apple shape. Like every time I gained weight, it goes straight to my stomach. And it prevented me from wearing clothes that I wanted to wear. You think in your mind, I'm losing all this weight, I'm going to be able to wear a bodycon dress, and I'm going to be able to wear like a one-piece jumpsuit. But my stomach just didn't go anywhere. And even with the weight loss, when I have my pictures, my before and after pictures, you can see all the weight loss in my face, my arms, my legs. But my stomach, it looked like it just, like someone popped it. Like someone got a needle and popped it and it just deflated. It really didn't have a drastic change like the rest of my body did. So I thought about it. I told my husband after I had my gastric sleeve, never having surgery again. And then I was like, well, because my stomach just didn't do what I wanted to. It was my only insecurity. My husband reassured me 1,000 times, we're already married. He always used to say to me, I married that stomach. Like, don't be insecure about it. And I told him it really wasn't for him. It was for me. Like, this is what I want. And I told him it's not like my goal is to walk around in a bikini. That was never my goal. My goal was just to be more confident in the clothes that I was wearing. And also to wear outfits that I never wore before. Like I said, a one-piece jumpsuit. Just having stuff where I felt like my stomach wasn't the center of attention. And even with the body shaper on, my stomach would still be bulging. And I'm like, I just want something that will make me feel confident. And I told him, there's nothing else. Even like I told you with my back not being perfect, that doesn't bother me. Thighs don't bother me. But my stomach was one of my biggest concerns. Like, I have to get rid of this thing. And so, I just decided to just, do something for me. Always taking care of the kids, always taking care of everybody else. And that's why when Lawrence was like, you don't have to do this. And I said, first of all, this is not for you. You keep telling me I don't have to do this. This is 100% not for you. This is for me. And since I've done it, there's not a mirror that I can't look in. I'm having a hard time looking at you because the mirror is right here. Because I'm like, hey, and even when I sit down, naturally, I'm like this when I sit down because I always had that bulge out there. But I realized I don't even have to do that anymore. And every time I put the seatbelt on, I'm like, hey. And I have a 7-year-old daughter, and she told me before, she said, Mommy, how come you have 2 stomachs? Like, you have that kid that is super honest. That is Sky. She is so funny. And so I go to the gym a lot, and she used to be like, Mommy, why do you always go to the gym? And I'm like, because Mommy has to lose this tummy. And my 8-year-old, I have an 8-year-old too, Chloe would say, Mommy, it's okay. You don't have to lose your stomach. It's not big. And Sky would be like, yeah, it is big. She's like, Mommy, yes, your stomach is big. And so it was just so funny to me, just thinking about how much that controlled me. And I always say, Sky is one of the reasons too. So I always say, how many stomachs does Mommy have now? She's like, you only have 1 stomach. But yeah, I don't know. It's just, it changed my confidence. Just this. I've always been really confident, even before the weight loss surgery. Before I was the type that was overweight my whole life. In my mind, I didn't even realize I was overweight. That's just how I was. That's how I always was. So I felt like I had accepted who I was, and I just never thought being who I am now was possible. It just didn't seem obtainable, just seeing like myself when I was almost 300 pounds to when I look back on those pictures, I'm like, that's me, because it just didn't seem possible. I went from a size 22 to a size 12. And it's kind of like, wow, that's me, you know? Just weird. But I think it did help the high confidence I already had a little bit more. But I just think, especially that my stomach was always my biggest insecurity. And I feel like that's gone and it feels good. It was 100% worth it. I mean, it was 100% worth it. And it's funny because my husband's like, all you ever do is walk around in bra and panties. And he's like, oh my God, it was so worth it. And this is the same man that was trying to talk me out of it, trying to tell me, it's funny because people think when you want plastic surgery, that it has to do with your self-esteem and your, like, I feel insecure about myself because I need it. It wasn't necessarily that about me because I love myself regardless. I'm like, this is how God made me. So this is how I'm intended to be. And I never focused on it that much, but it was something I just wanted to do for myself. It was just me putting myself first, which I never do. And I was like, I just want to do something for me. And even when it came to the price, and yes, it is probably, when you said it like that, I'm like, is it the fourth most expensive? It probably is the fourth most expensive thing that I've done after my house, my car, my student loans. It is, but it was such an investment in myself. And the way that we paid for it, it doesn't feel like a burden. It just feels like one of those things that was necessary to get paid, that you don't think about. Like if you need new tires, it's an expense, but you'll figure out a way to pay it. And that's how I feel about it. It's just, I don't know, it was 1,000% worth it. And never did I ever think that I would get as flat as she got me. Never. I mean, for real. Like I just never thought it would be that way. And if you look and you see other people's results, like in my support group, and I'm just like, wow, you think, oh, I hope I get somewhere near there or some, but I'm like, wow, she did her thing. Like she really made my two stomachs into one. So, yeah. But it's so funny. People like plastic surgery is like a down low thing. Like they don't tell people, like people get plastic surgery and they don't say anything. They just kind of go about their business like something looks different about her. Not me. I'm like, I had a tummy tuck. You want to see my before and afters? I show everybody my before and afters. I'm kind of ridiculous with it. Like, do you want to see? Do you want to see? Like, everybody knows I've had a tummy tuck. I'm like very vocal about it. But you know why I'm also very vocal about it too, as far as my weight loss surgery and my tummy tuck, is because I remember when I was heavier, I would be like, how come I can't lose weight and all these people are losing weight? And then I find out later they had weight loss surgery, whatever, they had help. And it's kind of like, it would have made me feel better at that time to know that that person did something versus me feeling like they're doing it on their own. How come I can't? So I'm always vocal about it. Everybody I know knows I had weight loss surgery. Everybody I know knows I had a tummy tuck. And, some people call it cheating or whatever, but I'm like the happiest I've ever been. And if this is cheating, I guess I cheated, So, I mean, it's just crazy how the person I was literally 2 years ago, and I have pictures, I have to show you pictures. It's just like, how did this happen? And it's worth it. It's worth every single, if it costs even $10,000 more than what I paid, I'd pay it. That's how happy I am with my results. It's crazy. It does take work because I go to the gym 5 days a week and I kind of live for it now. This also has made me more confident in the gym. I would say this, I'm the laziest person on earth. I literally have to work from home in my room upstairs because working from downstairs is too close to the kitchen. But I'm too lazy to walk downstairs to go get me something to eat. So that's why I work upstairs, because I know I'm not going to go walk downstairs and get something to eat. It's not that serious. But if I'm right next to the kitchen, I will. So I have so just knowing that I'm the type to go to the gym, and going to the gym is 100% my husband. Because what happened with our weight loss surgery is my sister-in-law had it. I saw her and I was like, what happened? You just turned into half a person. She told me she had weight loss surgery. I researched it. She had the bypass. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to go that drastic. Maybe I'll stick to a sleeve. And I told my husband, which I was so scared to tell him that I was going to do it because I felt like our life was around food. All we ever do is cook with each other. and for each other. And it's like, oh my gosh, how am I going to tell him? So I said, Lawrence, I really want to have weight loss surgery. For me, I've been overweight my whole life. I want to do it. He said, cool, I'll do it too. I was like, what? I did mine September 2018. He did his October 2018. And he keeps me in the gym and motivated. I'm going to show you. Oh, and then after we did it, my mom was like, I'm doing it too. She did it too. And we all three of us are all like, just the food that we cook has changed. The things that we eat have changed. We kind of keep each other on track and accountable. I think that Lawrence doing it contributed to my success too, because I had somebody helping me along the way and going through it this with me. So it was a blessing. But that from that and then having the tummy tuck on top of that to just finalize it all, it's crazy. It's a lot of adjusting your lifestyle, but eventually, like after 2 years, you get used to eating better and you make. The sad part is the day after I had my tummy tuck, my 8-year-old was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. And it was so hard for me because she had to go to the hospital, but I'm recovering from this tummy tuck, so I didn't get to be there with her. But if I had not had the sleeve, because she can't eat carbs really, without having insulin. And so, and she's 8, so she hates insulin. And it's not, type 1 diabetes is not what everyone thinks it is. Everyone thinks, oh, you can go on a diet or whatever. My daughter's not even overweight, you know, she's a, but it's a childhood version of diabetes. But if I had not had this weight loss surgery and known all the low carb meals and low carb snacks and stuff, I feel like I wouldn't have been able to, this wouldn't have been as easy to handle as it has been, because now I can tell her, like, because she doesn't, my daughter is like those types, like, I don't want a shot, so I'm not going to eat anything. So I know all the foods that she ate because I was on keto for a while. So I know all the low carb snacks and all that stuff to give her. And I was like, wow, what if all of that was preparing me for this, you know? But yeah, weight loss surgery is a tool. I honestly think it's like motivation, you know, like that placebo effect. Like just because you spent the time to do it, you don't want to fail at it. Yes, like I literally went to, you have to do 8,000 appointments. You go and you are under the knife. You voluntarily go under, and you don't want to mess that up. The same with the tummy tuck. Had this procedure done. The last thing I want to do is gain weight. I have to do all of this just to gain it all back. So it kind of keeps you motivated to stay on track. I have my days. I don't think I'm as strict as I was in the beginning. In the beginning, it was kind of like, carbs are the devil. I'll never eat them again. And now it's just like, I can eat them, just not all the time, you know? So I kind of just cut back. And then with Chloe's diagnosis, it kind of put me on track too, because Chloe can have carbs, but in moderation. So I told her, so she's not alone, we do it with her. Chloe can't, we say, if Chloe can't eat it, we can't eat it. You know, so we'll have days where we'll have something sweet, but we just do it with Chloe, you know, so she can feel included. So that kind of keeps us on track too, because the snacks that we have in the house, I don't have them in there anymore. I would feel so bad everybody going to the pantry and grabbing a cookie and Chloe can't, you know. So we just kind of changed that out of our household. But you know what, weight loss is one day at a time, and it definitely, you just have to keep focused on what you did. Like, I just don't want to be the one, because everyone always tells you after, I know such and such who had weight loss surgery and they gained it all back plus 20 pounds. I heard that so many times. I'm like, okay, you know, and you just don't want to be that person. But I've already told myself I'm not going to be that person. You know, a lot of it is mental too. I'm not going to be that person. I'm not going to sit there and have a tummy tuck, have weight loss surgery and mess it up. I'm not. So whenever I see myself having a bad day, I'll go to sleep at night and was like, yeah, I ate too many cookies today, but tomorrow I'm not going to do that. And then tomorrow I don't, you know? So you just kind of got to keep yourself back on track. I still have loose skin on my back. I still have a little bit on my arms, but you can't go into stuff thinking like you're a better version of yourself. Like, I think people sometimes think that they're going to come out being perfect, you know, like I'm going to come out and be perfect. And we are so hard on ourselves. We literally nitpick everything. Because even when I was after the tummy tuck, I'm like, oh my gosh, my stomach is flat. And I'm like, why do my boobs look so big? Then I'm like, no, Cherelle, you're not going to do this. You're not going to give yourself another complex, because we tend to do that. Well, I fix this part. Now let's move on to the next part of myself that needs. I'm not going to do that. I'm happy with how I am, and I'm leaving it at that. So, but every day, it's only been almost, I think 7 weeks. Tomorrow will be 7 weeks since I've had the tummy tuck, and it's still shrinking in, I'm still losing weight, and I'm still getting smaller from it. And I'm just like, wow, I can't wait till like I reach like 6 months out so I can see the final results. But I'm still pulling in from the tummy tuck. It's like every day is an amazing journey. You have to have realistic expectations too, because I mean, she can't turn you into Kim Kardashian. It's not going to happen, but she can get you pretty damn close. So I feel like she did. I'm telling you, the results that I had is like, wow, just I wasn't expecting it. And I posted my pictures in that group on Facebook. Everybody was like, wow.